Are the boomers ruining the classic and collectible car market? And can the Gen Xers and Millennials fix it? We're going to find out. We're going to make predictions. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. All right, welcome everybody. We are live. This is Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnick, coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas in the Rami studio, as well as my partner right over there, Wheelhouse in San Francisco. What's up, Michael Deeb?
What's up, JP? Well, we're a few minutes behind schedule, but everything's working. The show's still going. Let's do a show.
Let's do a show. The big question tonight is, are the boomers ruining everything? Look, this is not an ish all over boomer show. I promise. I know that most of our fans are boomers. I know that I'm a boomer. I'm boomer adjacent. We're Gen X. We're right there on the cusp. The fact is, boomers, the generation, the baby boomers, are a lot of those guys are retiring. A lot of those guys are, not as car enthusiast as they used to be. There was an unfortunate passing of a fella, Rich is his name, I want to say. He's one of the SoCal guys. Deeb, did you hear about this? He was driving with Paul from Auto Kennel. I think it was last week. Forgive me, I should have looked that up before we did the show. I should have maybe done even a little tribute to the guy. But the poor fellow, they were on one of these rallies. I don't think it was the Target California, but it was one of these rallies last week. And
Target just happened, though.
Yeah, so it could have been. And I meant to reach out to Solomon and see if he knew anything about it. But they're driving along, and the car behind Paul Kramer in La Tortuga, the little turtle car, the guy just dropped off and went in the ditch, and they're all like, what the hell? Poor guy suffered a heart attack while he was driving on a rally. No. And it's like, the heart goes out to him and the family. But I'm going to just say this, and this might seem terrible, but God damn if that's not the way I want to go. I mean, holy shit. Going out on a rally with your friends and hanging out and driving a Porsche, and that's where you go at this guy's age. I mean, I believe he was well into his 70s, maybe 80s. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. I'm really like, there's like a couple other things I think I'd rather be doing when I go. The list is short, and that's very high on the list. So God bless the guy, and hey,
Hold on, JP, I'm getting a call from Rochelle. Hi, Rochelle. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
I'll let him know. She said you can go on the next rally.
Yeah, no, she's definitely down with that. Well, my big problem is that, Rami will probably get a CGT sometime in the near future. He's definitely in the market for one, and we've been talking about it a lot. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I'm going to be the other guy. Like nobody remembers the guy's name that died with Paul Walker in that CGT, right? So I'm going to be the guy, the next, Rami's kind of infamous, and I'll be the guy that was with him when, but I guess Roger
Rodas was the name of the guy from Always Evolving. That was the name of the shop that they owned together. So I remember him, I'm a bid nerd. I'm a bid nerd. So Roger Rodas,
he was fairly famous within his own right, but like 9 out of 10 people know that Paul.
No, nobody.
Out of all the people that know that Paul Walker died in a CGT, 99.9% of them don't know the name of the other guy. We all know that he was a race car driver. He was the driver for crying around. It wasn't even Paul. Anyways, there it is.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, most of those people wouldn't know that Paul was a passenger. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Anthony Vieira from Our Smiths giving me about my shirt, my high style shirt. This is industry bro.
Oh boy. Here we go. Let's get to some predictions.
That works at a clothing store. All right, let's get to some predictions, and let's talk. I mean, look. So we started on this whole boomer thing. A lot of the point is, a lot of boomers are kind of leaving the market. They're not as active in the market as they used to. They're probably the highest concentration of wealth in the country, if not the world, is American boomers. And those guys have a lot of money in their cars. And even if 90% of them dip out of the market and aren't buying, 10% of that is still a huge amount of influence within the market. But we got to got to have that come to Jesus moment. 60s and 70s cars or cars that aren't that famous are going to start seeing lower and lower numbers. The drivers for the enthusiast car market right now is really leaning on the Gen Xers, even more than that, the tech millennials who are coming after us, who are now getting into their peak earning years, and they still have the energy and time, and they don't already have the cars they want. That's the other thing about, Gen Xers. A lot of us have the cars that we want. Because we've been in kind of peak earning for a while, whereas the millennials are just kind of moving into that space. So they haven't been in the situation where they can get the cars that they want. So now they're out looking for Countages and other things that they had on their wall when they were in their teens and 20s. So with that in mind, the first car that we want to revisit from the last episode, because this is the show where we make predictions, we analyze listings, we predict what will happen as a result of those listings on Bring a Trailer, and we always start every episode by reconciling those predictions. So let's get to the first big one. This big one, this is big news. This car really is something. What was that first car on the list, Steve?
All right, JP, it'll be difficult to see if we're going to learn anything from this result. John, we're going to circle back to the 1967 Porsche 910 race car that ran as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer just last week. Listed out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is chassis 910001. So this is the first car. It is presented. It looks to be in excellent condition, beautiful livery, and has been, raced in period and probably historic raced almost all of its life. So a super rare car by the numbers, JP. I think we figured out that just 28 of these were built and only 12 of the first 12 cars. Again, this is number 001. Had this powertrain, which was a 2-liter magnesium case flat 6. So a very special car by all accounts. JP, we had to look to our friends at classic.com. It's not like, no matter how nerdy you and I are, it's not like we knew the price of a non-10 off the top of our head. Good God, there's only 28 of them. How many have traded hands just in the last, say, 4 or 5 years? Maybe 3 or 4. But JP, our friends at classic.com keep track of that data. And they tell us that on average, these cars bring about $2.5 million. JP, it's worth noting that our car was just around $1.5 million when we looked at it just a couple of days ago. John, I thought this car would get to $2.5 million. I thought the presentation, being a premium listing and running for 9, 10, 11 days or whatever it was, that the bidders, that the buyers for a car of this significance would come out and take a swipe at this car. And so I gave the bid of 2.5. You took the over at 2.5, $910. So basically, you're just taking all the real estate above me. JP, our car did get 1 or 2 more bids, but it did not go anywhere. Our car hammered at $1,515,151. 1515151. It failed to sell on 20 bids. So JP, I do think this car is worth 2.5. I do think this car will trade for 2.5. If anything, I think it might trade for a little bit more. I don't think this car is burnt for having failed to sell right here. What I do think is that the seller of this car is PSA Automobiles. I imagine that's some sort of dealership, and in these certain circles, they're probably well known or respected in that regard. And it seems to me that now they've gotten the car out there, they've gotten a little interest. They've made it public that they're going to sell this car. Anybody who's seriously interested in the car is probably just going to contact them post-hammer and make a private deal, which is how most of these cars trade hands anyways. Perhaps if this car had come to Monterey just a couple months from now and was auctioned off there without running on BAT, this car would have found a retail number publicly. But I'm fairly certain that this car is not burnt or damaged in any way. I think this car will just simply trade post-hammer privately, and we'll just not know what that price is unless it's published in a book someday. You know what I mean? So, JP, what do you make of this premium listing failing by $1 million to get to the number? Again, in these circles, at these price points, with these rare cars, private transactions are the norm. I don't think they did wrong by trying to take this car public to BAT, but this certainly just wasn't the correct arena to get a retail number for the car. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I don't think any of that stuff is the case. Normally, I would totally agree with you. But I mean, on its face, this result is stunningly poor, and the result is kind of what inspired tonight's. The theme of tonight are the boomers ruining the market. This car is such a rare car. This is one of those cars that no one knew what this was. Like, there's so few people, so you have to really be a nerd to know what this car is. Nobody had this on their wall. So it's only the true Uber collectors that are really looking for something like this or even know that it's out there to get, right? So, you're not going to have some tech bro millennial going, oh, sweet, a 910's available? Oh, my God. For some, millennial guy that has the money, you're going to have to explain to him what this car is. The fact is this car had questions. If you go into the comments and you kind of if you just look at face value, everything Deep said is right on. But when you actually get into the comments on this particular auction, apparently somewhere a couple of days ago, all kinds of questions popped up. Someone got in there and said, hey, they mentioned apparently there is a somewhat famous car that wrecked at Sebring at some point. And people didn't really know what happened to it, and so people were speculating that this might be the remnants of that car. There was questions about the authenticity. The chassis stamps had the wrong amount of characters on it and didn't have the right font, or at least this claim was made. I have no idea looking at the pictures if that's true or not, but these questions were raised, and the seller was not able to adequately overcome those objections. And with a car like this, with a multi-million-dollar car, it's one thing when you're buying, a Mark II GTI and you're overspending, you're buying for $50,000, but whatever, you're exposed, and you find out that it was just a Golf that had big bumpers put on it or an engine swap, and it's not a real GTI. It's not a real, whatever you thought it was. Something like this, you got to send somebody to put eyeballs on it, and it can't just be anybody to put eyeballs. It's got to be somebody that knows that the font is wrong on the stamp. Who the hell knows that? We are talking about extreme details that require absolute expertise to get to the bottom of. I'm certainly not that person. My partner's not. But I think when someone is buying a car like this, you have to be, or you have to at the very least employ someone that does, or even less than that, knows where to find someone that does. For instance, if we were hired to represent this car to sell on BAT, which we are available for, if you have a car that you'd like to sell on Bring a Trailer Cars and Bid or PCAR Market, if someone came to us and said, hey, we've got a 67 910, Deeb and I would be looking at each other going, awesome, that's great, super. I'd be like, what's a Porsche 910? I don't even know what that is, right? Mm-hmm. But we would dig in. We would find out.
It's the one they made after the 909.
Right. Exactly. So here it is. This car is amazing. I think that Deeb is. I think my partner's probably right that this car isn't necessarily burnt. It's pending. It's not going to be burning in the hellfires. It's sitting in limbo now until someone can sort out those questions. And I think those questions can be answered. It's just a matter of time, right? And somebody coming to bringing those things to light. What do you guys think of the results? And what do you think of that, Deeb? Do you think it's because, how big a deal is that? You get a question like this in the middle of a $2 million auction? Holy crap.
It doesn't help. But again, there's maybe 1, 2, or 3 people, if they're lucky, that are actually interested in buying a car like that right now. Mm-hmm. And if those people have revealed themselves through the process of listening on BAT, and you get them on the phone post Hammer, you sit down and you make your deal. And there's no sense of urgency, so you have plenty of time to have somebody come out and verify the stamps or the claims or whatever. I don't think there's any problem. There's not going to be any problem selling that car if it is what it's supposed to be. And if it's not, then they had no chance, and putting it on BAT, wasn't going to help or hurt that cause if it's not the real thing. But whatever. I
Yeah,
think
this isn't a
it's just
car
such a
dealership
special car.
where they're trying to close a deal on a Hyundai Sonata, so
Nope.
the chick can get to work the next day. That's not what this is.
Yeah.
All right, let us know what you guys think of the results, and what do you think of those questions? Does anybody know how to answer them? Let us know in the comments. And if you are hanging out in the Nerd Herd tonight, thanks for hanging out with us live. We love you guys. You guys are the OG, and you're why we do the show, because it's a lot more fun doing this live and watching you guys in the chat. Than it is just doing a blank screen. All right, let's get to the next car. This next one, this next car just isn't a boomer car, or isn't what I would consider a boomer car. Would you, Deep?
No, JP, can we just skip the result and watch the video again?
I know, right?
Awesome.
How great was that?
Oh my God. Everybody in the comments said what we said on the show, which was, why the hell did not Ferrari build the 2008 Scuderia with a 6-speed manual transmission? Somebody had to go out of their way, dig into their own pocket, and convert this one to a 6-speed manual, and thank the heavens that they did, just so we could watch 2 minutes of this damn driving video, because it sounds like heaven. A premium listing, JP, on Bring a Trailer, brought to market by our friends at 1600 Veloce, who have to be a top 2 or 3 seller on BAT. It's amazing that in all our years of doing this, we've never met anybody from 1600 Veloce out of North Salem, New York. But I would love to meet those guys someday and shake their hands, because they bring to market some of the coolest cars on the East Coast. This one in black has 26,000 miles. Somewhere down the road, somebody put on, the 6-speed manual transmission at great expense and to great effect. Because with this fancy Larini headers and a 200-cell Sport Cat, this car sounds absolutely insane. And if you get a minute and you have good speakers attached to your computer or headphones for your cell phone or whatever, go watch the video and turn up the volume, because it sounds like magic. It really does sound incredible. The car isn't that special. The other thing that they did was center lock. They adapted the hubs to a center lock wheel and then put BBS Challenge with. There you go. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Other than that, the car's got a patina, as you'd expect with a car with 26,000 miles on it. JP, there's really no comps for the 6-speed manual, but a regular Scuderia is down to about $242,000. I thought this car would be closer to $300,000, so my bid was $280,000. You leapfrogged over my bid and actually went to $300,000. Your bid being $300,430. JP, you almost got a Yahtzee. Our car hammered for $305,000, where it sold on 42 bids. John, we should have covered the close of this. We should have covered the close of this lot live, because we would have been on air for an hour. This car took literally a half an hour to close, because I think it was right around $200,000. And then it spent from hammer, it had to go all the way up to 305, and it just took forever. I imagine if you were involved and engaged in it, it was very exciting. But I just kept checking my phone because I was doing other stuff, and it was still going. And I never even saw it close. I think I actually saw you put the result in. I was like, Jesus, it went all the way to 300,000. So, John, here's the deal. Your average Scud, of which this would have been an average one with 26,000 miles, maybe even less. This car might only have been a $220,000 car with the patina, the kind of ugly red seats instead of a red interior, and like all the scratches and stuff like that, the modifications. This might only be in a $220,000 car. You spend, let's call it $50,000 on the conversion. Technically, this guy made money. Should we all be running out and buying Scuderias and doing this ourselves to make $10,000? Like, what do you think? Plus, we get to drive this car in the process. What do you make of that result? Because to me, that number retails over the expense of the car and the expense of the conversion. I'm just saying on record, I think this guy is ahead for doing it. What do you think?
Yeah, we talk about, like, the conversions that we usually see are like on the 550s, the Ferraris. That's a pretty common one. Or we see it all the time with the JDM cars, like the Toyota Supra seems to be a pretty common car to do swaps on. And it never really affects the value in a positive way. The real manual will always bring more than the flappy pedal version. Whereas this car, they didn't make one with 3 pedals. So there is no alternative. So to me, I don't like, okay, someone could say, oh, well, it's not original, but who cares? The great thing about the Scuds, it seems like the person that wants this car fully 100% intends to drive it, and that's fantastic. So yeah, I think absolutely swap every last one of them. Why not? Who cares if one's original? Because I mean, this is it's like a 993 C4S or a C2S with a Tiptronic. It's like, oh, what a tragedy. To be able to get, at least with the C4S and C2Ss, they did make 3-pedal cars, so it doesn't really make sense to swap those, because you can just go out and find one. This is it. You're stuck with, you have to swap it, or that's it. So yeah, I think you're onto something, Deeb. Let's start a whole new company. Let's buy all the Scuds and start swapping them.
Do the swap, and there's no timing belts. Like, I mean, it winds up being a good car. You know, I'm not saying it's inexpensive to maintain, but this is probably sort of one of the lower maintenance modern Ferraris that is out there. You know, you'll have clutch expense if you drive like an idiot, but man, or
if you don't warm the car up when you drive it.
You gotta let that go, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the other thing too is that $300,000. What do you get right now? Like a GT3? This is so much better than a GT3.
So much better.
I mean, there's just nothing out there on the. We said it. We always say it whenever we see these manual gated cars. When it comes to Ferrari, this is way cooler than anything Ferrari currently makes. So, okay, you got to start looking at other brands to see what else would my $300,000 get me for the ultimate enthusiast car. And I don't know if I can think of a better enthusiast car than this. Steve, can you?
997.1 GT3 RS with stupid low miles, so you wouldn't want to drive it, is in that 250,000 and up range in a rare color. And this car sounds better, has 100 more horsepower. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and this one has got a patina, so drive it irresponsibly, take it on the crest and follow closely, because it'll just look cooler with more chips in the paint. I'm telling you, JP, that's a pretty good argument. If this
comes up behind you on the crest, you're like, yeah, pass me. I want to hear it when it goes by.
Yes,
just like
totally.
That would just sound so badass. All right, guys, what do you think of the results on this 6-speed swapped manual Scuderia? Let us know in the comments. Is there a better car for $300,000 that you can think of out there on the market? And is this a boomer car? I don't think so. I think this is definitely a car that a millennial with a bunch of tech money or a bunch of what would it be, Bitcoin money or whatever goes out. They cash in their Bitcoin and go get this car. That absolutely makes sense to me. What's the next car on the list?
All right, JP, should have been a Yahtzee. Let's go back.
I'm going to call an audible on this one.
Let's go back and time and fix JP's bid. Let's look at the 1979 Porsche 911 SC Coupe in ivory that was running on Bring a Trailer by our friend Matt Crandall at a 911R at his new location in Scottsdale, Arizona. Matt and his team have been doing a great job. And check out the images of this car right here. This is better than the catalog the car was sold new on, showing just 25,000 miles from new, JP. My God. And it's been sitting in a garage for 25 years. And then it was removed from the garage in 2021 following its 2017 acquisition by the owner. So obviously they went through the car and got it all refurbed. And here we go. The car comes to market. And, we just don't see SCs in this condition. So we've got low odometer. We got an early SC in 79. We've got a rare color, an exceptional condition, and it looks like very good provenance and history from new. Sport seats, period correct interior, non-AC car. This car just sort of ticks all the boxes, JP, and we knew it was going to set the internet on fire. John, according to Classic.com, the average selling price of a 911 SC is typically just $57,000. I thought this car could set a new high watermark for the year at $124,000. You said this car would set a new high watermark for the SC on BAT, and your bid, JP, was $140,000. John, it's so funny because you were like the king of those petty, cute little 3-digit denominations at the end of your bid. And it's amazing you didn't throw a 911 in there because you would have got a Yahtzee, but you didn't. Our car hammered for $140,911, sold on 34 bids. JP, there's no points for second place.
I'm sure I had that number in there. If you look at all my bids on all the other cars from the last episode, I always had the number on there. Why I didn't on this one, I was probably making some stupid point because, not only would I have gotten a Yahtzee, but I would have gotten a 5-digit Yahtzee. No, a 6-digit Yahtzee. Thank you very much.
6-digit Yahtzee.
So, yeah. Okay. Anyways, what a cool car. Stupid. It's just not worth it. I know it's got low miles. I know it's a special color, but it's just a 911 SC. Whoever bought this, and all the people that were fighting for it, you're dumb. I think you're dumb, and I don't think you're going to get your money back for this. I think that this is hardcore boomer money right here. The boomers are the ones that are paying the extra money for this. When you pass, and your kids inherit this car, they're not going to know what to do with it. And by the time they go to sell it, people aren't going to care as much. 911 SCs are always going to be air-cooled 911s. If any car is going to hold and maintain its value, it's certainly something like this. But I do think the potential for to get more than this, that was just dumb. Just what are you doing? There's so many other cars that you could have gotten for that money that would have been usable. This isn't that collectible. It's not low enough miles that it says to me this is like a museum piece.
It's not rare enough to be a museum piece. It's what you're examining is the condition. It's like original, preservation mode. JP, you bring up a good point. This guy paid $141,000 plus $7,500, so he's practically in this car $150,000 before it's shipped to his house, assuming he doesn't live in Arizona, Utah, Vegas, or otherwise. JP, even if he gives it back to Matt Crandall to sell for him a second time, he's not going to get, this is my take, in my opinion, he will not get more than $140,000 for this car over the next 3 years. His car has to go away for about 5 years in order for this car to come back to market and do better than it did here. And it has to be another exceptional listing at a moment when SCs are having a moment. Yeah. And so to me, it's like you got to get the sun, the moon, and the tides just right 4 or 5 years from now and have good assets and have good representation and have a break in the news and the market to do this. He nailed it, but he cannot replicate that. If he comes back to market in less than 3 years, he's burnt against his own comp. He won't get it a second time. Why are you selling it so soon? It's just nobody's going to give him that money. So,
and by the way, you can't drive it, buddy. Park it away. You can't put another mile on this car. You just socked. Why didn't you just a savings account would have been better? You can't drive. That's just so annoying.
JP, in Seattle, they have the parking boots.
The parking boots? Oh,
parking
for like
boots, parking tickets? Yeah. It's when you buy a car like this and you pay top dollar for it, it's as if you're in a parking booth. You just can't touch it for 5 years.
What an
idiot. There you go.
I mean, you buy T-bills. Quantitative easing on Bring a Trailer. All right, let's move on. What do you guys think of the result? One more quick one. Let's get to some new predictions.
Chris Carbine sold a car. That's it. No,
Chris Carbine, our good buddy.
2014 Jaguar F-Type S Convertible on sale on Cars and Bids by Carbine Motor Cars, showing just 14,000 miles. Did really well, JP. Chris's car was at like 29, 30 grand when we looked at it. Classic.com says that on average, and again, these are younger cars, was sell for $41,000. I thought Chris's car would get to 34. You thought his car might get to 35. Chris's car hammered for $33,500 where it sold on 23 bids. Well done, Chris. I'm sure he is very happy. I'm sure that car belonged to a client. So anyways, I'm sure him and his client are happy. JP, not much to unpack there. Should we go to commercial?
Yeah, we will be right back with predictions right after this. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. We are back. Look at that. I'm like, okay. Look, what time is it? It is the Our Smiths Pick of the Week coming up right now. The first car on the list that we're going to make a prediction on. This one is definitely on the bubble when it comes to boomers. This is one of these cars that I think there's only so many people that really appreciate this thing. Deep, introduce this car. What are we talking about?
All right, JP, now eligible for importation into the United States with no hassle is the unobtainium and never sold in the United States 1999 and year 2000 Porsche 996.1 GT3s. JP, I've got a sneaky suspicion many people in the audience are not familiar with this car at all. It is the first iteration of the naturally aspirated Metzger 3.6 liter flat six that was put into a production car. JP, these cars were actually assembled in Weissach, which makes them very special. As they were assembled in Weissach, these cars are more or less hand-built, whereas the later GT3s were all built in Zuffenhausen and Stuttgart, and those cars are largely, robotically assembled. But these cars are mostly, they're one of the only, sort of large production car that ever came out of Weissach. And as such, these cars are kind of special. Now that you can bring them in, it's interesting to see how these first 2 or 3 cars are going to fare at public auction, and we start to get an idea of what the market for these cars will ultimately be. The 3.6 liters, JP, in a 996.2 GT3s, the ones we sold here in 2004, those cars made about 380 horsepower and they revved to just over 8,000 RPM. I believe Redline was like 8,200 RPM. JP, these cars make about 255, 260 horsepower. They make considerably less torque, just about 275 pound-foot of torque. And believe it or not, JP, I was really surprised to see that even though these are Metzgers, they only rev to about 7,500 RPM, where Redline begins. Now, I'm sure you could over-rev the snot out of one of these to close to 8,000 RPM, but that's not how you take care of your car for the long term. These cars just weren't designed to rev like the later ones were. Don't get it wrong, though. These cars are still super fun to drive. They weigh about 2,900 pounds. The big options here, you can get one with sport seats, which is basic. You can get one with bucket seats, which is cool, or you can get the full-on club sports. JP, in Europe, the basic cars with the standard seats and the bucket seats fare for about $80,000 to $90,000, while the club sport versions of the car, all things being equal, tend to bring 90 to 100,000 euros for the car. So it's interesting to see now if somebody spends the $10,000 or $15,000 to bring one over here stateside, it's in good original condition, and it comes to market. Will they bring over typical European market prices just because they're here and on a domestic title? So this is about the 3rd or 4th one we've seen come to market. We've seen some sell retail by like Marshall Goldman, and one of the other big sellers in the Midwest has traded a couple of these. Who's the guy way out in the East Coast? Daniel, not Schmidt or something. But they've sold a couple of low kilometer versions in that $140,000 to $160,000 range. But these cars, JP, our car here with a ZZZ VIN and about 93,000 kilometers, which is about 58,000 miles, is black and has had the seats. It has the bucket seats, but they put in the roll bar and a race harness. So this car looks like a club sport, but it's not a club sport. Let's see. This car, I think, was derived out of Germany, JP, and it's on a Florida title. And again, showing the mileage that I said, it's a 2000 private party, and here away we go. So JP, our car has about 2 days to go. It's already up to $75,000, but that's just on one bid. So I wonder, JP, when you see a bid come in at 75 grand, is that a proxy bid or not? Again, we're not accusing the platform of doing anything, but when your first bid is that high, you scare most of the underbidders out of the room. I don't think that's a good idea, having your buddy bid for you to try and get you there. It's entirely possible, JP, that this car doesn't get another bid because, again, I think this car would have struggled to get to $80,000 or $85,000. But as I'm looking at it and see that 75 came in just one bid, and there hasn't been any action since, I wonder if this car is going to do well or not. So, JP, I sent it over to you. How many times have you been turned loose in a 996.2 GT3? And on your short list of favorite cars you've ever driven, did it make the top 10, top 5? That's a really cool car, right?
Yeah, .2 GT3, absolutely. Man, I had the opportunity to buy one and I skipped it back when they were worth 50 grand. You know, it's so annoying. I don't know if I've ever even seen a .1 in real life.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem with this car is that looking at it, there are a million .1 996s that have the Aero kit on it and the fried egg headlight. And this car is definitely not going to grab anyone's attention, even if you're driving up to, Cars and Coffee or even Air and Water. I mean, people are going to have to be like, wait, what? Oh, that is a real GT3. Wow. Yeah, I mean, someone's going to have to. The owner's going to have to stand next to this car and go, it's a real one. This is actually the real, it's not just who cares about the flex thing? It's about the car and how does it drive and all that stuff. I mean, the amount of money that you're going to have to pay for this, I just don't see it. I'm definitely looking at a .2 because a .2 is going to be, okay, sure, a .2 is going to be slightly less collectible, but it's going to be infinitely more usable and more fun to own. This car just doesn't do it for me. It's neat. It definitely sits in a place in Porsche's history, and I'm glad that it exists. But I'm just not sure who wants this, who's pining for this car. And forget the car for a second. PCAR market, this is your shot. You guys keep getting shots. Everybody's talking about how the fact that you guys sold and there's new ownership. It's like the Chinese food restaurant on the corner. It's like under new management. We don't have any of the cockroaches in the buffet anymore. Most of those are gone, right? This still feels like it's like, guys, you're not cleaning up your mess. Have you really? I mean, did you just pay off the health inspector or did you actually clean up the kitchen? It seems to me that you guys got to do a better job. This car is a big deal. And it should be presented as such. We should be looking at this listing going, wow, I've never seen a .1 GT3 look this good. But instead, they took it to some stupid parking lot and shot it with a phone. They didn't get a good detail job. This car has rock chips all over it. And I'm okay with the patina and all that stuff, but there's ways to make this car. We should be looking at this listing just going, oh, yeah, I forgot how good these are. Oh, man, yeah, you know what? I think I could live with the fried eggs and all that stuff because, oh, my God, this is a GT3. This is where it all started. This car should be all about the romance. And instead, even the compositions, they have the car cut out. This is just such a fail in PCAR market. You guys, come on. It's time for you guys to prove that you guys are the new management in town and things have changed. Right now, it doesn't look like anything's changed at all. Everything just seems like the same shit show as before. What's this car going to bring?
JP, this car is in rough shape. Like there's some detail shots of like the center console where the shifter is, and it's just all scratched up and pitted. This car hasn't been cared for. It's evident it's had a rough life. According to our friends at classic.com, we do see sales for 996.1 GT3s both in the States and abroad. So they have data for the sales of these cars. According to them, the average selling price is $83,000. This car is high mileage, poor condition, and it's a poor listing. And it's at $75,000. And honestly, JP, that just smells like a proxy bid. You know what I'm saying? Just like on paper, there's no accusations. I'm just saying like that's a weird way to start. John, I do think they'll get one or two more bids, but just some like overzealous kids that are like, oh, I'm going to put a bid in. So I'm going to say 78 grand. But I just feel like the car is DOA. This car, like whoever spent the money to import this car should have also spent the money to put the stock .1 GT3 wheels on there. And then you could argue with me back and forth. I would happily get into an argument as to whether or not they should have removed the roll bar and put this car back to at least to stock so that, for people that are trying to match up, like if you go and Google one, you're not going to see these wheels. So the car already looks modified and ridden rough. And so why put those hurdles and that friction into the listing on your road to the sale? And so that's just my philosophy. So 78 grand, JP, is my bid. It's going to fail to sell. I'm guessing that this fool thinks he's going to get 95 to 100 grand, which is the number I think it'll wind up for in the deal tank. But this car, he'd be lucky to get the 83, which is the average. I just don't think this one is worth it. I think nicer cars are coming, and if I was shopping for one, I'd pass on this and hold out for a better example. So 78 DOA. JP, where you at?
Yeah, if the seller would have spent $5,000 on proper pictures and video and a detail and, like you said, getting, swapping the wheels and just making it all original, I think that $5,000 investment would garner a result that would potentially get six figures. This car should be $100,000 plus car. There just aren't .1 GT3s in the country. And because it's rare here, we've seen it time and time again, PCA members will pay extra for stuff that other people don't have. This car, because it has the goofy wheels on it, even more looks like a fake one. I'm with you. I don't think it's getting another bid, Deeb. I think it's dead where it's at. I think 75 grand. It's the proxy bid. You are 100% correct. That guy just boned himself. And on top of that, his buddy, whoever he got to do that for him, now he's going to have to pay that guy back. Like the 5% of 75 grand, right? So you could have spent that money on a photographer to take real pictures, dipshit. So good going. You are going to fail, and you deserve to. And PCAR Market, you deserve to have the failure on your shoulders as well for not doing a better job as stewards of your listings and helping your customers get better results. This is just such a fail all the way around. What do you guys think? I've tried to just kind of hold it back on PCAR Market for a while, kind of waiting for them to get their act together and see if things are going to change, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Do you guys think I'm wrong? Am I being too hard on PCAR Market still? Let us know in the comments. And Deep says, yeah, but then you agree with me that it's not getting another bid. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not getting another bid. That's for sure. But there you go. All right. We got a cool car here, JP.
This next one's pretty cool.
I picked this car for you. Just what a cool car, JP. Check out this 1988 911 Carrera Coupe. It's a G50, but they basically they took the motor and punched it up to 3.8 liter, which I didn't even know was possible from that block. I thought, I know you could get to 3.5. I didn't think you get to 3.8, and I couldn't find anywhere in the listing that told me they swapped the motor for like a younger generation block. Like this isn't I don't believe this is a 3.6 block out of, say, a 964 or a 993. So JP, if anybody in the herd has read this listing more than I have, because I didn't really read the whole thing, let us know if that's the case. Otherwise, I'm impressed. I like I said, I didn't think you could take a 3.2 and stretch it to 3.8. In any case, it's a twin plug. It's a 3.8. It's a G50. And it's a wolf in sheep's clothing because, JP, I super appreciate how restrained this car is. Like, you could be forgiven for rolling up on this guy and being like, hey, man, cool car. And then try to goose it with him, and you are in for a wicked surprise because I bet this car will smoke your ass. Like, this thing is so cool. Check out the center exit exhaust. They did the rear bumper delete. There's no wing. They matte black finished the Fuchs wheels. It's Venetian blue to begin with. Like, JP, this is just a really cool car. I'm absolutely digging it. PMOs, which basically dual PMO throttle body injection system. So yeah, just a super cool car, man. I dug it. It made me think of you for whatever reason. Something about this car reminded me of your 993. I think like the tone and the black wheels and the just sort of like subtly badass car reminded me of your 993 cab. And so I picked this car for you, JP. I know you're getting a G body and all that, but man, if it's not too late, you could always change your mind, right?
Yeah, I mean, you should talk. This car, I know what car you're getting next, and this is way cooler than the car that you. This is the one that. Oh my gosh! You know whose car this is? This reminds you of our good friend Jason Alter. He has the same color 964. He has the Cup ones on his 964 that are orange. And I think this car, if you painted these Fuchs orange like his and put the script on the side, that would be pretty damn dope. But either way, you don't have to do a damn thing to this car. This looks like so much fun. I mean, G50 with a 3.8. Looking at that engine, that does not look like a 3.2, like it started out as a 3.2 to me. But
okay,
who knows?
So it might be a younger
or it
car.
could be a short stroke. I mean, I don't know. There's different ways of making it bigger displacement. But we'd have to read it more carefully, which is something that we should do, but often don't. I'm a little bummed that the dashboard's kind of cracked up. The interior is not as nice as the exterior of this car, but hopefully that means that this car is going to get bought by someone who's going to use it and love it and drive the living hell out of it. Deeb, this should be your car, buddy. This thing is pretty badass.
Hey, if if I could register this car, somehow Washington or Nevada, I would love to have this car. And JP, woof, what up?
Well, we could definitely help you with that. And on top of that, isn't there a new when's this Leno law thing happening? What's that all about?
That's gotta go. It passed the first hurdle. It's got several more hurdles to go. So we can't wait around to see if that's going to happen. We're all praying it does. But by the time that happens, who knows, JP? I might have a different address anyways. All right, John, let's get into the numbers on our car. Our car closes tomorrow, so let's
go ahead.
Yep. Our car closes tomorrow. Check it out, JP. According to our friends at classic.com, the average selling price of an 88 G50 911 coupe is $75,000. Our car is sitting at $45,000, and it closes in 16 hours from now. That comes to us by just 6 bids. But JP, I think the real buyers for this car are waiting until the finish. And John, I think this car is going to basically double in value. My bid for this car is $90,000 at Hammer, where it will sell. 90 grand to you, JP. It's at 45 right now. Closes mañana.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to get more into the listing. We didn't do a good job on our prep today. I really want to look at what engine that is in there. What's the real story on that? It is a 3.6, so it's not the original engine, stuff like that. So
I read it.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, but I just don't think it's going to bring that kind of money. These kind of undocumented hot rods that are a little weird, just they bring money, but they hold back. What was your number? 90?
90.
I think it's going to struggle to get much more than 80,000. So I'm going to go. I'm going to say 84,911 just to get it a little closer to your number to cover myself. But I don't think it's going to get too deep into the 80s. But I do think it sells at that.
It sells at your number. All right.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
And I think this
that's
is
a hell of a value.
Right, exactly.
This
is because at that number, I mean, it's a G50 car, which, okay, that means it's worth something, but it's not original, so it's going to scare all those PCA types away. This is definitely not a boomer car. This is definitely a car for the younger generation of air-cooled 911 owners, someone who wants to go out there and rock this thing. This car is definitely going to be a car that you're going to see on the Crest or up there in Idaho going up to the ski resort or out there and on the tail of the dragon or something. This car is built for back roads. So there's no illusion to that, right? It's not a rare color or anything like that. So those cars, they're bought by people who are looking for a little bit more of a value. And it's not a backdate. If it was a backdate, it'd be a different story too. Backdates tend to bring more money still. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Michael Deeb should buy this. Tell him so. And because I want to take a ride in this thing. All right, let's go to the next car. What's that?
It's so funny. Everybody's saying, hey, 3.6s are twin plugs from the factory. Like, why are you calling this a twin plug? Which is kind of redundant, but I just think they were trying to help sell the car. All right, JP, let's jump over. Right now on Bring a Trailer is a 1972 BMW Bavaria with a 4-speed manual that is running no reserve. Now, before you start throwing hate mail at me, make no mistake, my partner already did. He's like, why are we looking at this car? Somebody spent the money to repaint this car and essentially restore it. JP, over the last 2 or 3 years, I have looked at every early BMW 6 or C3 or whatever they call these E9s or whatever they call this platform, and Bavarias, all the different itinerations of these cars from the late 60s to the mid 70s, and all of them are piles of junk. This one is really effing sharp. So it's got a replacement odometer that's showing 12,000 miles, but it's a 4-speed manual with this BAIKAL, which is the name of the blue paint, metallic, and a saddle leather interior. It's got 14-inch steel wheels, but included in the sale are a set of 14-inch Italian Chromadora wheels, which are really beautiful and were optional equipment on these early BMWs. So those wheels would be correct. I'm surprised they didn't put those on the car and then photograph the Steelies. but I appreciate they're going with originality. And then I also appreciate that they're running this car no reserve. Now, there's not a big market for these cars, but my dad had a Bavaria when I was young, and our buddy Yuri's got the car that came right after, the 76, which is just a little bit more power from its straight six, the version of this car. They are very handsome 3-box sedans, and they drive beautifully. On the road at 100 miles an hour, you can put your elbow out the window and hang onto the steering wheel with a single fingertip, and these cars will track true and straight. These are absolute Autobahn bombers, and while they don't make a lot of power, they are wonderful to drive at speed. They are great Grand Touring cars. And let's face it, if you're entering the genre of vintage car ownership, you could do a lot worse than getting into a really cool early BMW with the early kidneys and the 4 headlights. I'm a huge closet fan of this generation of BMWs. I just think they were really, really attractive cars, and this one kind of flipped me on. So JP, just as I hand it over to you, the best these cars typically do is like 20, 25 grand. Our car's got 4 days to go, and it's already sitting at $32,000. So I tip my hat to the guy that is running this car no reserve. I think it's going to do really well. By the way, JP, this car is up in Bellingham, Washington. So take it away. Do you have any experience outside of, say, like a 3.0 CSI or CS at like an early 6 Series? Any experience with this platform or any love for these early BMWs the way I'm obviously a big nerd for them?
Yeah, I have no experience with them. I mean, I've been around a lot of BMWs, but even when I was in the BMW scene 20 years ago, this just wasn't a car that you ever saw. But you know, I love it. Looking at it, that just looks like well, Chris Carbine said it's lovely, right? And I think that's the perfect word for it. This looks like a lovely place to be. The carpet, the color of the interior, the condition, everything about this car screams just, you know, classic car. Who wouldn't want to be seen in this car? Who wouldn't want to just, you know, cruise on a sunny afternoon, go get a cup of coffee? But the problem with this car is that nobody really knows what it is, except for this is definitely a great example of a car that's a boomer car, and you got to wonder how many boomers are looking for something like this. The younger generation that's into the classic BMWs is about as old as they get. The young timers is E30s. So you start getting older than that. Even 320s, they're like, what the heck's a 320? What is this Bavaria? You know, it's just not a car that's going to strike that millennial with a wad of cash in his pocket that he's itching to buy something classic. So it really has to be someone that knows what they're looking for. That said, this looks like the nicest one ever seen, ever. So if this is the car that you know, 2 guys, you just need 2 boomers that want this thing, what's it going to bring?
All right, JB, according to Classic.com, the average selling price of a Bavaria with a manual is $23,000. Actually, that includes the automatics as well. The manuals definitely bring more, and it seems to me they're sort of 50-50. Again, this car is running no reserve. It closes 4 days from now. It's going to close on Sunday, right before we do the next show. It's currently sitting at $32,000, and that comes to us by way of just 7 bids. But JP, with a little bit of time and running no reserve, I think this car is going to do really well. My bid is going to be $44,000, and of course, it's going to sell. It's no reserve. Where are you at? You got to break 40 with your bid, JP?
Yeah, I have to be conservative this one. I'm going to go with Randy B and say 39. This would be what is this? What's the name of it? What is this car? A Bavaria? What?
Bavaria.
I'm just going to go, 30, he says 39,300. I'm going to just go 39,000 even and call it good because beautiful car. I just boy, it's going to struggle. All right. What do you guys think? Let us know, and let's move on. Next car. What do we got?
All right, JP, I pick another one for you. That hill you love to die on is the 2001 Toyota MR2 Spyder 5-speed. JP, I finally found one that will make you bid with your wallet because it's got 12,000 miles. Wow. It's black, it's manual, and it's on PCAR Market, which is the wrong platform for this car. JP, I can't believe I'm going to say this. This car should be on Cars and Bids. What were they thinking bringing this to PCAR Market? This is not their arena. This is not where they excel. The assets are fair. They're very good. The car is exceptional. And Doug DeMiro would be the right sort of geek to sell this car for you. This was a colossal fail by the seller to come to this platform. And again, PCAR Market has its own merits. but young timer Japanese cars aren't them, and so this car should be on that platform or BAT, where it would also do well. But I actually think Doug DeMiro's site is where this car should have been brought. So, John, I picked this one for you because it was black, it was manual, and it was low miles. And it's sitting at $4,000 on 2 bids. The average selling price for these is only $14,000. I mean, JP, I know you're about to spend a wad on a really cool G-body car, but you're going to need a daily driver, and you could do a lot worse than this car. Couldn't you see yourself in this car with the AC blasting this summer? Talk to me, man.
Hell
Come on.
yeah.
Tell me you're going to bid.
Hell yeah, I want this car. And maybe PCAR market will finally make my life better by screwing up the sale of this car so badly that I actually get a shot at it. But it's got a reserve, right? It's not a no reserve listing.
It's got a reserve. But
yeah, so this is just chum bucket fodder if we've ever seen one. Because the reason why this guy brought it to this platform is because he wants $35,000 for it, and that's the only platform that will whore themselves out and say, yeah, I mean, look at this. He's got the miles lit on the damn windshield. This guy thinks he's like, oh, this car, yeah, I mean, bro.
It's not special. It's not special.
This car isn't coming to Vegas. He wants too much for it. I would love to have something like this as a daily driver. I think you're right. My lovely wife, who just turned 21 today, happy birthday, honey. She would look great in this car, ripping it around. Yeah, alas, what do we think this little MR2 will bring?
Again, JP, just on 2 bids, our car's sitting at $4,000. Classic says they average $14,000. I actually think this car will stall out at $14,000, but I'm with you, JP. It winds up in the chum bucket. The what do they call it now? It's not even the deal
marketplace.
Marketplace. What an original idea! Holy God, where are the trademark attorneys for Facebook? My Lord, Jesus H Christ! This car winds up in the chum bucket on the far side of $25,000. Your 35 might be a better guess than whatever you guess the hammer is. You might get a Yahtzee on the chum bucket, but JP, yeah, I'm going to say it winds up being on the far side, the wrong side of $25,000. I was hoping you could bid 14 and win it for 14, but you're right. This guy wants way too much. JP, 14 to you. Where are you at hammer, and where are you at in the bucket?
Yeah, I mean, I want something like this because I think as a second car, as a fun little sports car, I'm so sick of spending all this money on Porsches and fixing them, even though I'm doing it again and again and again. This car, I mean, at 12,000 miles, you just pour sand in it. Put gas and sand in the engine, and this thing will never, ever break. You'll be stuck with it. It's just going to drive forever and ever. And it's a mid-engine car. There's no power or whatever, but slow car fast. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to stall out at $8,500 on PCAR market, and then who knows what it goes in the chum bucket. Yeah, dead on arrival. Too bad.
DOA.
All right, let us know what you guys think. What a great alternative to like a early boxer. How much time we got? We've got a couple minutes. We got a couple minutes.
All right,
let's do this last JP, one just super fast, so we have it on the list.
Right now is a Euro 1997 BMW 323 Ti 5-speed. I'm just going to spoil it and say JP told us that this small abbreviated E36 platform, when it came to the US, only had the 1.8. So this one's got the 323. What's amazing, JP, is I was just at Andre's, my mechanics. He has one of these that he put a supercharger on and then beefed up the suspension, and he said it is the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing. This car looks beautiful in the Corona violet metallic paint job. The leather seats in the two-tone gray and black do nothing for me. Car happens to be a rag top. But these cars do handle. I've seen them with E36 M3 motors, and then now I've seen Andres with the 2.5 and the supercharger, and he said that the car absolutely rips. So JP, it's running no reserve. I'll send it over to you. What do you think of the car?
Yeah, well, what do you think it's going to sell for? Let's just get to that.
All right, our car is sitting at $4,250, and that comes to us by way of 6 bids. It is running no reserve, and it closes tomorrow. Classic.com says that 323 Ti's typically sell for $15,000. JP, I think this guy will be lucky to get to 8, even though he's running no reserve. So 8,000 is the bid to you. Where are you at?
How many miles does it have on it again?
A lot. It's got, and I'm reading it to you right now. It is 165,000 miles. 165,000 kilometers.
That's a reliable engine. The 318s that they sold here were just gutless. You're right. With a slightly bigger engine, it's going to make all the difference. Swap this out with a M engine, and you've really got something fun. I think you're right. You said $8,000. I'm going to give it just a little bit more. I'm going to go 8,500 323. Yeah, that's it's just
there you go.
Nobody's looking for this thing. All right, guys, let us know what you think. Thanks for hanging out. We will be back Sunday for another live episode of Bid Nerds. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. And of course, if you are considering selling your classic or collectible car, reach out to us at bidnerds.biz. That is our website, bidnerds.biz.
Check it out.
A happy ending for every auction. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We will see you Sunday. Bye.